G'day guys, and welcome to a preview for Rosehill on the 9th of the 9th? Saturday anyhow. True rail. Weather's been perfect. You're going to be a fast track tomorrow. Definitely should be hard to come wide and run on, even though the true rail's normally the old position where it was probably easiest to do so. Rails in run, getting off the straight, and a few off in the straights usually ideal. So it's third defence, fifth defence coming through, one out, one back. Leading, no disadvantage, outside leader okay in reasonably run races. So that's what we'll be looking for tomorrow. There's quite a mix of big and small fields. Funnily, the bigger races have the smaller fields in most cases. So interesting races all around though. And starting with race one, shame that the early prices have changed a bit from what they went up here. It was a very strange market that went up in the first place, and it's kind of corrected itself now to a certain degree. Unfortunately, the two horses I thought represented good value have both gone off, but going through it. Not much speed again on paper. Positive Problems has had all sorts of excuses. Don't know what happened to it at the start last time. Possibly could be ridden more forward here, up dramatically in distance. Hartlings comes across and can definitely race on the pace. Caravali can race on the pace. Barge can race on the pace up in distance. Doesn't look a strong tempo regardless. I thought Marakita came up ridiculously short odds here. Found a race last start where it could outsprint a very moderate bunch of horses that were all distance queries. Had the nice run through there, even though the tempo was against, and simply did that, outsprinted them. I thought this race there were a lot tougher bunch of horses that were much better suited at the 1500 metres and could definitely match her in a lot of ways. So I thought she came up quite crazy. I think she came up about $3. I'm still thinking she's very short, around $3.70. I think it's a very open race. Caravali definitely the most promising type for mine. Thought had plenty of excuses first up in a moderate race, and was way too strong for them late in a. Just watching here, she gets held up in behind here, which is not her go. In the red here, inside Canberra, who's come out and won since. It wasn't particularly well ridden either. But this horse is not a sit sprint horse, Caravali, and you'll notice here that being held up's definitely not her go. Gets held up again there, balked for a run, limited room, probably cost her a length or two. And when she really gets any sniff of daylight, she winds up really strongly. She's not a horse that does anything quickly, but super strong through the line for mine. And that was just first up, 1350. She can be improved from that 2 weeks. I think 1500 is more suitable. I was keen to find her in some really nice races. I was thinking Oak sort of horse at the end of last preparation. So I definitely think she can line up here. She gets Haywood off, Bowman on, perfect gate. Definitely the favourite of. I thought that should have been marked favourite from the beginning. They put up $6, huge price, into about $4. Still seems fair enough. Barge is an interesting horse. Good win first up. They put up big odds her. I'm going to say $12, $13 into $6 now. That's probably fair enough. I don't really want to be chiming in too heavily at the $6, but do think she has the talent to graduate to this level easily enough. Hartlings was good first up, 1400 metres, obviously a 133-day break. She's obviously a horse that's plagued with issues. She tends to have quite a few breaks. She'd had a 95-day break before last start, and then 133 days off again since, with just a trial in between. She's could find outside leader position here, loses the senior rider to a rider who hasn't ridden too many winners of late, but is okay from this position, you'd have to think. Positive Problems can improve back to the lead. Lani Girl was a really strong win against a slow tempo last start. She seems to be in just about career best form. Back 100 metres in trip, doesn't look poor. Will be one out, one back or so here. Can race well. Midnight Delight gets the winkers. I I thought she had a chance last start, but she can definitely be better for that run at the 1550. Back to 1500 looks okay, just a matter of where she gets to. Maybe they could push forward from the outside gate, and Lover it was a huge win on debut. Heavily backed its next start off a slow tempo and failed back to the trials against some really nice horses and trialled well. You'd expect the hard fit horse to trial well. I do think she's kind of up against it here, and gets the junior rider aboard. Probably going to risk it today, and like, as he not have, I don't want to lay it, but I don't want to back it. I'll let it beat me on this occasion. Race 2, the Highway. Wrap up of race 1. Sorry, Caravali clearly on top from Cambage. Clear second pick. Betting around Marikita. Race 2, Suncraze shows up here off a 49-day break. Has trialled exceptionally well in between, back to 1200 metres. Gate 1 is the problem, but any luck at all, certainly the horse to beat, no doubt about it. Ruthless Agent's an interesting horse, 63 days off, back 200. Interesting form lines, and does look like the knockout. There's some city form lines there going back to good standing, even further back. That was an interesting race. Want to get a what? Pumpkin Pie, Magical Stance, beaten 4 lengths, 2 lengths, half a length of My Dream at Kembla is okay, and then sat outside the leader against Starbet Sam in a strong race last start, only $18 there. So his form's okay to say that he should run a race. Northern Knights is just a really talented horse. Even though Raiden missed the kick terribly his first start, there was plenty of merit in that race, and he ran well. Came out and was gifted a win at Lismore, really. But then last start, he showed that he's much better than that, and put away a decent field in good time again off a slow tempo. So he's a serious horse. Big step up here. Where does he get to from the gate? I'd back him to beat home Mossman Gorge, but I think Suncraze has still got the wood on both of those horses. Mossman Gorge, definitely hard to knock him. Does look the leader again. Or possibly, he'll look for a position, maybe box seat today. Bit of pressure from outside him. Seems to all play into the hands of Suncraze here. I really do think there will be enough pressure for him, and he'll be absolutely rocketing late against this level of horse. Don't Give a Damn was okay on debut in an average enough race. Led and I thought the fence was good there that day and did a good job, but definitely plenty of it its favour. 1300 back to 1200 is interesting, going into a faster race. Did show good speed there, which I hope he does again here, which he'll probably put it on for Suncraze. I do think everything basically points to Suncraze. Northern Knight looks the only danger to me. Ruthless Knight can run a race, and Levy Banks the absolute knockout, but pretty straightforward race. The Highway this week, I thought. Race 3 is not a race I really want to get too involved in. I'd love to bet against Allwood at $1.90. Back in distance. Had every possible chance last start in a sit and sprint race, and just got there. I thought it would go up in trip, and it's coming back. Vaucluse Bay amazingly keeps the same rider after last start. I thought he found every way possible to keep it out of the finish, and now he backs up on it from a wide gate, and probably it's one of those horses that just keeps going around for Waller and tough to find. Estic Raj had every possible last start in the midweek race and got the job done, but again, every conceivable chance. Hunter Jack looks fitter for that last run and lobs on speed, can run a race. I'm a Nui, 28 days between runs up 300. You just can't have it. It's just not possible. The rider's not really ideal and tough to find it. Quick Defence definitely looks the one suited back to 1800 metres and the definite value in the race. Abdullah from gate 5 looks good and hard to beat. The price map maker's unfortunately gone. If it runs 1800, it'll be in the finish here. Should roll forward into a nice position and whack away. And the query runners, not only Florina, back up the top off one start for the new stable and a failure, but can be quickly turned around off it's fairly well fancied there, and definitely can improve in what looks a suitable race if back to her best form or anything like it. So betting around Allwood, if you had to have a bet, I'd have something on Quick Defence, but not really too keen to play at all in the race. Race 4, Esterak comes out. Scratch this horse. Bit of cat and mouse here. Who leads? I know that Addictive Nature probably doesn't want to lead and gets the nicer draw this time with Esterart coming out. Should cross just in behind, possibly Gold Standard. The Mission can kick up. I'd say Trapeze Artist will be looking for a sit this time. Addictive Nature probably ends up outside him, 1 out 1 back, possibly 1 out 2 back. I can't see Ace High really rolling forward. If it does, that doesn't really matter either, and Addictive Nature will probably be midfield. I thought Gold Standard had the nice draw to really dictate, where he positions up and probably gets the jump on Addictive Nature, and it's then his job to run Gold Standard down. Sanction will improve off that first up run, and Trapeze Artist will as well, but he looks awkwardly drawn. The Mission's been trialling like a 900 metre horse, so got to be very concerned about how he's going to handle 1500 metres first up off some hard going trials. If he got out and running here, anything could happen, and he could mess the race up simply by being overly fresh. Interesting race, good race. I think the 2 top picks are probably Addictive Nature and Gold Standard. From Sanction and Trapeze Artist, Ace High the knockout. Obviously, when I'm giving 5 chances in a 7-horse race, I'm not too confident and definitely not chiming into short odds. If I had to have a bet, it'd be taking 460 Gold Standard. Race 5, another great little race. Oh, horse won it. That's weird. Okay, race 5, Fox Place Scratched. Another race that looks quite devoid of tempo. Deploy looks the likely leader unless Waller decides to send out Good Project first up. Has the speed to probably cross if he wants to, and Dixie Blossoms has the speed to come across too. They're both probably, more likely to be ridden a little bit conservatively here, which leaves Deploy in front. Good Project probably on its outside. Canny Essence looks to cross those inside him early, so we're talking Egg Tart, Mighty Lucky and Euro Angel get to the fence behind Deploy possibly, or even one out, one off the fence behind Deploy. That should set up a good position for both those horses. Obviously, Egg Tart's a very talented horse, resuming, but $2.70 looks very dangerous. It reminds you a lot of the race that Deploy won last start, where there's no tempo. You've got capable sprinters here that can really dart home off at slow tempos, so he'll be looking to control the speed, Deploy, and then really build it from the 600 and run home in a quick time. Canny Essence can obviously sprint off a slow tempo and should be poised to pounce and can run a really strong race. Dixie Blossoms and Egg Tart, the 2 that close from behind, but they probably look up against the other 2 here and either need a little bit more speed than there is on paper, or plenty of luck and those other horses in front to stop a little bit. I think she's a quality horse, Egg Tart, but can't find her at the odds, and I do think that Deploy and Canny Essence are fairly priced in this particular race. Nothing too much to report there. All horses look fairly well suited in this particular race. Sharako Stakes is just a deep, tough race. I'll just go from the top. Gassoni, 455 days off, trialling very well. Too good to dismiss. The horse is just a very, very, very good horse. You're going to get 10 to 1 plus about her, and you definitely don't want to risk her. She's just too talented, but does face a huge task, 1200 metres first up off that sort of break. Ome Sword has a bunch of gear changes here, barrier blanket, earmuffs. Looks, I don't know, partial earmuffs off or something, so it's just earmuffs and barrier blanket. Obviously trying to get her to jump. She draws wide. I think that barrier blanket usually tends to slow them up a bit more than anything, so I'd say she's coming from last year if she wants to win. Not easy. Daisy Doom, a bomb-proof sort that's trialling well, rolls straight up on the speed and can run a really big race here. The stable's obviously a bit of a query, but seems to be going well. Danish Twist seems to be just trialling okay for me. Didn't really like it and happy to bet around it. Bonnie O'Reilly draws really poorly here, and I can't see her being anywhere more than outside leader 3 wide, and if she gets a bit of cover she can be dangerous, but seems to be very short from that gate over a trip that she's not bulletproof at. Like she's still good and dynamic, but she needs to have a bit of cover. I thought Ravi was trialling really well. McAvoy obviously airborne and can run very, very positively. The Thenalicious 2 trials, all both very good. Definitely needs a bunch of luck from that inside gate. She is a knockout chance that can win if she gets it. Den Magic, I thought had its chance first up. Can't find it. Gibraltar Girl has had that run first up. 1200 is probably as far as she wants. Draws the inside gate that really will help her if she gets all the breaks and can be dynamic off a standing start. Can win. Perazada flying, but where does she get to here? And it is a big class rise. Wouldn't be surprised to see her pop up. She's hard fit and there, but it is just such a big class rise. And the bottom one, Hysterical, trialling really well. Will improve out to 1400. Pardon me, 4:30 starts don't agree with me. And will improve, but can't knock it at 40 to 1. So Daisy Doom, Ravi, the two I'd probably settle on here as best chances at the best prices. Cassoni, don't want to bet against it, that's for sure, and I could only make Hysterical a small winner at big odds if she rolls forward from that wide gate and just kept on running. She could run a race for sure. Race 7. 2 key scratchings of Queegee, Phoenix and Siege of Quebec. They come out. As we'll see, there's very little tempo on paper for a race of this nature. Parast, Kementari, probably Minari rolling forward from the outside gate. They'll set up a softish tempo, you'd think. There's not many multiple runners from stables or anything. That I'm just trying to find something that could be sent out, and I really can't. Invader gets back. Diamond Tathagata midfield. Tangled back on the fence. Pariah sits midfield or just behind the leaders. I think Minari rolls forward. Chauffeur midfield. Shogun Sun goes back. Kementari probably rolls forward. Even though he's first up, it does want to go real quick, and Parast probably rolls forward just simply because he has to. Ticks all boxes. Minari, I thought he was dominant first up. I find it difficult to see them out sprinting them here. He just looks to control the tempo from wherever he wants to be, puts the pressure on from wherever he wants to put it on, and he's clearly the horse to beat. Pariah definitely the one to hold out if he finds his back or something similar. He's got all the quality and from the stable. He just looks well placed again from a perfect gate. Kementari looks vulnerable for mine first up, 1200 against these horses. I know he's a talented horse, and if he puts them away, probably just wins the Golden Rose. Big ass though, and looks very short around the $4.20 mark currently. Parast at 150s looks a huge price. 25 to 1 the place looks a huge price, considering he could get a soft time of it in front, and I don't think he's going anywhere near as bad as his form suggests, as in beaten margins. Can't see any other real surprises. Invader obviously running home, Chauffeur running home, Shogun Sun running home, but all from well back and face a tough task from some really talented horses that are going to be in front of throughout. The last two races are very tough. Tango Rain looks to try and possibly lead again, hold that position from the front, but he could get a little bit of pressure from wide. Not too much pressure there, so he does look the horse to beat again, no doubt about that. Top Striker's had some strong excuses, back out to 1200 metres looks suitable. Soft Gate looks suitable, he looks big odds at 25 to 1. Demper, not much luck first up, 4 weeks to get over it, 1200 looks more suitable and can run well. Manners absolutely flying, 35 days off, so 5 weeks, 1200 looks a bit of a test. Interesting that Bowman sticks and certainly has trialled well since that run, so it's hard to really knock him from a soft gate, but looks well enough, found around $8 to not really get too excited about him. Last Witness has been bursting to win a race, probably bursting for a wet track as well. I can't knock him at all at $16, $17. I think that's probably good value, but we'll need all the breaks. Zumbalina's trialling well off a break, just has the inside gate first up, which is a bit of a query. If it lobbed third the fence right behind Tango Rain, you'd probably be kicking yourself going, how did I not declare this immoral? So I think it's right in the finish, but it's an interesting horse, and betting should tell the story with it, what their intentions are, whether it's ready to go and is going to sit third the fence or possibly work back a little bit in the field and need a lot of luck. If it's soft in the betting, I'd probably bet around it. If it's firm, I'd be happy to take the price. Cogliere, a good horse to look at going towards country races further in its preparation, but probably not today with the blinkers off, gelded. Tango Rain, top striker. Denper to a slighter degree, and Zumbulina. Denper to a very slight degree. Last Witness, Zumbulina, the ones I'm interested in race 8, depending on the pattern. Race 9's really tough again. Good tempo, looks assured. The Pharaoh comes across from a wide gate, and there's a few around that want to kick up underneath him, possibly. Oklahoma Girl resumes. Gate 14's an absolute nightmare. If the pattern is that you can make a bit of ground, she's definitely got the quality to be in the finish of a race of this nature. It's just a matter of whether she can get there. It's just how close she can get. Interlocutor just looks a darn good horse. Obviously beaten last time at Scone. The horse was since disqualified, beat the rest of the horses well there. We just look at his form to see what. So he's was a huge run first up last time in over the mile. So 1400 big field with a bit of pressure possibly suits him. Interesting to see obviously where he gets to. The Pharaoh runs along in front. I was a little bit disappointed with him last start. Back to 1400 does look more suitable, and the pattern will be ideal. Will be a big player on how he performs, I would say. Peacock has been given 4 runs since that first up run. 4 weeks, sorry. I've been good to see that the month between runs off quite a tough run first up. He can improve off a bit colder ride, probably midfield, just in front of this time. Ebenos is better for the 1400 metre run last up, but it was a slow tempo, and I think that suited him. I'm very surprised to see him be in the finish here over 1400. Wayanka's just a horse that I can't get warm on. I know he's gone better in Melbourne these last couple of starts, but I just can't trust him at this level. Galaxy Warrior resumes down the bottom, trialling well, absolute knockout, but where does it get to from gate 14 with the apprentice? Faces a tough task, but we'll see how it goes. Last race of the day, I think the quality's in the horse Interlocutor and possibly Oklahoma Girl. Peacock can improve. Pharaoh somewhere there. I'd rather be on Interlocutor for something. Peacock, if it gets out, I could entertain it, and something on Oklahoma Girl at the $15. But it's a pretty tough race. Then I don't want to be going too soft in the quaddie. Probably going wide. Actually, doesn't look a bad quaddie day with a bit of value around in the last couple of races, possibly. So tough last few races, going a little bit wider. There's some good racing all around, keeping a close eye on the Stan Fox and the Run to the Rose for big races coming up. And the Shirako looks a cracking race. Very tough, first leg of the quaddie, going a little bit wide there and hopefully strike some value. Thanks guys, and I'll send through everything in the morning as per usual and any updates as well. Thanks.